What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sundown Audio unofficial YouTube channel. My name's Derek. We're out here working on Project Tow Piglet. And I'm sure you can see already, it's time to add that big, new, beautiful MechMan billet case 370 amp alternator. So if anybody new, give you a look. We got Tow Piglet out here, got my toolbox. It's a little high, so I do stand on some stools. These are old cubes, not cubes, let me flip one over. Tubes. These are actually old octagons I built for our competition Terra a long time ago. We use these things as all kinds of stuff. Stools, we use them to hold cars up in the air. They're pretty strong, so I got some out here to help me get in this engine bay. But here's the main point of the video. It's time. Let's go ahead and show you around, in case you're not familiar. So this is going on my 2500 HD here. This is a 6-liter gas engine. I'm a huge fan of gas engines over diesels. Now that diesels don't have a place, I just didn't need it in what I'm doing. These alternators are good for all full-size GM trucks. MechMan makes alternators for almost everything out there. Check them out. I say it all the time. This build partially sponsored by downforsoundshop.com. My buddy over there, JP, he hit me up, wanted to help sponsor the channel. A little back and forth, talked about it, and I was like, you can sponsor this build I got going on. He was happy to step up and do it, and this is one of the ways he did it. Team Down for Sound, you can buy alternators like this as well as everything else we're using in this build. The wire, the batteries, the amp subs, everything you're gonna see coming along, you can buy them at downforsoundshop.com. All right, I moved the alt down here on my little work spot so it would quit sliding, like you've seen right there in the opening. Let's show that thing off. We got a nice big hairpin stator in there. We do have a slightly smaller pulley to help keep those idle RPMs up. Let me go ahead and throw out here in the beginning, when installing these alternators, they usually require a slightly shorter belt. So be prepared for that. How much, I can't guarantee you. I've seen people claim everything from a ½ inch shorter to an inch shorter, but they typically require a slightly shorter belt because of these smaller pulleys. Now, what I do, what's worked for me, and I'm gonna do it here on Tow Pig as well, I'm going to install the alternator. I'm going to reuse the stock belt. It's gonna be a little long. My tensioner's gonna really move out there and it might not grip as good, but it will be good enough for me to drive this thing to the parts store, buy the belt I need, get a ½ inch shorter one, test it. If it doesn't work, I can walk right back in and swap it to a 1 inch shorter one, and I can do all that right there in the store, the parts store, in the parking lot of them. Now, if you're not familiar, all you got to do to swap belts, there's a tensioner down here, right there, and you can get something, get a wrench on that tensioner, twist it, belt pops right off like that. They're easy to swap. You can do it in 30 seconds, maybe a minute if you're slow about it. So my recommendation, get the alt on, have it good enough to get you to the parts store, swap belts out there so you can make sure and find the right one you need. You can test fit them as you go. So let's show off another couple cool features on here. One, you don't find this on every alternator out there, but I like the MechMan does this. They have a specific, and it's tagged here, they have a very specific grounding spot. Now this came with a terminal on it, a ring terminal. I've taken it off already because I went ahead and in preparation, I used that ring terminal on my Big 3 kit. So in the last video we did, I installed the Big 3. I've got the ground from the firewall, the body location, down here to the block, or basically to the bracket where this alternator bolts on at. Because in my opinion, don't worry so much about the lingo of your battery terminal to block or your body to block. It's mainly getting the power from the alt case. The alt case is your ground for the alternator. So the block is basically where that alt case bolts to, and that's cool. But the best ground is right here, right on that case, and they give you a dedicated spot for that. So as I install this, I will be moving that ground wire from the side of this bracket here where I got it bolted to. I'll be bringing it up and bolting it right here on the alternator where they designed this spot to go. This is a factory drop-in unit, uses the factory plug. Just plug and play, bolts it on, done. It is, after you pull that belt off, it is literally 2 bolts. to mount it. That's it. Bolt. Obviously, you got a stud here for your charging post. You got to put that on. My ground, plug it in. Super simple. Now, here's what's cool. Now, see, everything's tagged, so they show you where to put your negative, where to put your positive cable. There's also a little thing here. It shows where somebody tested it. It's dated, it's initialed, and they give you the outputs that they received. Now, the handwriting's a little bad on this one, but I do believe that is a, looks like it's 245 amps. This thing did it at 800 RPM idle and 373 amps at an 1800 RPM cruise. So that's pretty cool. I know in Tow Pig, if I'm cruising, driving down the road, I'm on 373s. This is the 6L90 6-speed transmission, 33-inch tires. It's got a 373 rear end, and cruising around 70, 75-ish. It likes to turn right at that 1800, maybe 2000 RPM. So that's going to be great. Give me full power. Obviously, if I'm cruising in town, I'll be in a different gear. These things, you know, with the gears, the tires, all that, it's just going to work out perfect. So yeah, let me set this camera up. We're going to dig in, get this factory alternator snatched out, then I'll show you a comparison of them side by side. All right, so alternator is all out. Give you a look at that. Note, first things I did was disconnect my positive here at the battery. I just disconnected the one that I added, and I disconnected my other positive right there at the fuse, because that's easier to get to than pulling the whole battery terminal. So I disconnected those, killed all power, so I ain't gotta worry about these touching and short circuit on anything. After that, pop your belt loose, real simple. 15mm wrench, put on it, twist that tensioner over, pop the belt right off, bam. Couple 15mm bolts here, back them out, pry bar to pull up on the alternator. You got these little compression sleeves. When they tighten down in, they grab hold of the alternator real good to hold it good and snug in there. So you're probably, once you get it loose and get the alternator pried out, sometimes these will loosen up. If not, just come in. Sometimes you can use some pliers, push on these, slide them in, give you a little extra room. If not, get your little hammer, tap on them, just tap them through, help give you some room, slide that alternator back in. But now, we got them both out here on the bench. Let's show them side by side. So this is essentially, I'll call it a small case GM alternator. You can see they're very similar in size, of course, same bolt pattern, but you can really see that pulley difference right there. That smaller pulley is going to help keep those idle RPMs up, give you a ton of power when you're just sitting still, stoplight bumping, stuff like that, parking lot pimping. But same 2-pin plug. Your charging post is going to change a little bit different spot, but unlike here, you don't see any of that extra ground. We got that extra grounding spot right here on that case, that nice, beautiful billet case. Love these things. That's it, real simple. Let's toss it in. All right, so I'm gonna install it in real time so y'all can see how fast this can go. Slide the alternator down in there, get my bolts ready. You have to wiggle it around a little bit, get the bolts lined up, popped in its place. One bolt in, 2 bolts in. Now it's just a matter of tightening them down. I think I got this one started right. Come on. This is where I wish there was room to get power tools in here to make this really a zip. moving on to the next. Now this is where you guys are probably gonna be fast forward through the video, and that's fine, as long as it gives you an idea of just how fast you can swap one of these alternators out. An air wrench would have zipped these things in a couple seconds. Tight. That's it. The alternator is bolted in. Just that quick. Alright. Next, let's go ahead and do our positive back here. So I'll pull my nut off. Get my little tags off. I could have prepped and pulled them off ahead of time. And like I said in the Big 3 video, I'm not going to replace any of the factory wire. I'm just going to add to it. So I'm leaving my factory power wire here, just adding to it. Pop them on. We're good. Get my nut back going. Catching hell getting it started. It's one of those things I just ain't holding my mouth right. Something's interfering with me. Alright, there we go. Now let's move the winch. Which wrench that is. Nope, it ain't that one. Nope. I should have got that wrench ready ahead of time. Power wires are snugged up. They're on. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in. Again, this reuses the factory plug. No need to swap that out. And I am gonna swap my ground over, so let's go ahead and do that. Get my tag off. This is a 6mm, which you need to know. So I'm going to pull the ground that I added when I did the Big 3, and I'm just going to move it up here to the alt. All right. Factory bolt back in down here. Snug it up. It's good. Plug this ground wire in. Snug this thing up good and tight. Done. So aside from the belt, alternator's installed. 2 bolts on the front to mount it down, hooked our ground up, plug, power wires on the back. Only thing we gotta do is pop our belt back on. It's good to go. We also got to connect some powers back there. All right guys, the alternator's installed, slap the belt back on, got my positives hooked back up at my terminal, my fuse block there. Everything's good. Now, really important step, anytime you mess with pulling that belt off, look at every single pulley. Check every single pulley, make sure they're all good, make sure your groove's good. Once they all look good, just very important, make sure you check them. Sometimes they'll be off by 1 groove, and you crank this thing up, sling, it's gonna shoot that belt. So that's it. Since we're all installed, connection's good, belt good. Let's hop in my dirty tow Piglet. I guess the name Piglet matches right now since it's so dirty. Fire it up. Trying to get y'all a good view. And everything looks good. No lights other than a little hood open there and my seatbelt light because I didn't put it on. No lights, no codes. Hopefully y'all can see that voltage back in there. Some good, strong voltage charging. Oh. That's it. I am happy. Only thing left, cover, which is super simple. There's some tabs right back there. See right back there, I'm tab slide into them. Tuck this behind that hose, and bam, done. So that's the finale. Alternators in, ground wire, upgraded 1/0 wire, belts on. And keep in mind, this is still my stock belt. I haven't swapped it out to that shorter one. I'll be doing that later. I'm just gonna probably drive up to the parts store, check it out, get something just a little bit shorter, make sure it's all good. If you think it's all running good, you might still have to go shorter. Keep an eye on your tensioner. You can see where your tensioner is at in the factory location before you swap anything. Potentially make a mark on it and then try and get it back in that same spot. But that's it. Happy, voltage is good, brand new pretty alternator installed. Next up, batteries. A couple big Excess Power D3400 batteries going in here. So we're wrapping this up. Remember guys, sundownunofficial.com. Get your sunglasses like the ones I'm wearing. Big 3 kits like the one I installed on here. We're putting those on there. The heat shrink, Sundown audio, 1/0, 4 gauge, 8 gauge, and silver and black. We've got the heat shrink on the site. We've got tees and hoodies and lanyards and koozies and decals and all that cool stuff. Still repping my straight clip-in. You can get these at DVS Designs. That's a whole other site. Some good friends over there. Awesome people, awesome base head gear. But all our stuff, sundownunofficial.com. Make sure and check it out. And that's it. Remember guys, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, click that thumbs up button, give us a like, make sure you're subscribed. Tons more to go on Project Tow Piglet here. Battery install, dual battery install, wire install, head unit, subwoofers, all that good stuff. So make sure you're subscribed, ring that bell for notifications, and until next time, we'll see y'all then.